Pimlico, welcome to Old Hilltop here in the start pre-Preakness weekend of nice racing that we have going on here. Keith, I don't know about you, but this is actually my favorite set out of all the sets that we have throughout the year. So I'm pretty happy and excited to be back here at Old Hilltop.
It's a great little spot perched right above the winner's circle here. Everything going on behind us, so I'm ready for a big couple weeks here. Big meet. Looking forward to Mage coming in, after that Kentucky Derby performance. See if he can capture the second leg of this Triple Crown journey. But, it's great weather. Looks like we got good weather all weekend, so looking forward to it. Some competitive cards. It's not going to be easy. We're going to try to help you out here.
Right.
But look at this weather right now. 74 degrees, fast and firm for you here in Hi-Ho, Pimlico.
It is. It's gorgeous out here. So if you can, get in out here and enjoy Old Hilltop while we can before it gets too crazy here. And let's start the snowball effect of this nice weekend of racing coming up here on Thursday. It does start off in this early pick 5 here in this claiming 25 for the 3-year-olds and upwards, which have never won 2, going 5 furlongs on the turf. Remember, not really many 5.5s anymore. 5 furlongs on the turf, scratching the 1 Carmichael's Pioneer, the 4 Shadowbacks, the 10 Landon Jack, and the 11 and 12 Awesome Steven and Body Slam. Keith, you land on the number 3 in Cloudy Boy. Let's go ahead and take a look at a stat that you pulled up this morning about him.
Wouldn't be Pimlico turf without Hassan Alamri, right?
Exactly.
Hey, he does quite well. The last 3 years with the turf sprints, 10 for 51, 20%, 23 for 51 in the money with an ROI of 322. Just been kind of laying in the weeds as Hassan Alamri and ready to strike. I think Claudy Boy comes out of some good races. Yeah, not so great before the layoff at Laurel back in October. Is fresh. Positional speed. Some of the speed was scratched out of here. The rail horse going out. Carmichael's Pioneer. But Claudy Boy, I think, has the right kind of tactics here to kind of sit just off of it, save some ground, rail is out today, and move into this flow.
You also have the number 8, which I include. I wanted to see your take on Red Sharp Eagle for Fennica Bentley. Gets Carol Cedeno. Just returned back just to kind of get into the groove of things late in March over at Penn. But some eye-catching enough. My key race is going to be back at Parks on the 30th of May last year, going 7.5. That should kind of stick. Again, a bit short for him today, so maybe perhaps just kind of needs one, looking just to be happy with being underneath, kind of getting that first turf for the year in, but I think for a good one underneath.
Yeah, 5/8 of a mile. We'll see. Has not tried this distance. He might have to be hustled off his feet a little bit. If he takes the rating, you look at some of the horses, his last race, a buyer of 76. A buyer of 76, if he can duplicate that, is going to win the opener here at Pimlico. Premier Choice, some decent horses that he's faced in the past. Will he get up the setup? Will they get away from him? That's the key. I look at Star Shopping, a horse that since been transitioned into the barn, has shown even a little bit more speed on the dirt. He has shown, he's proven, capable on the turf, all those tries going longer. But I think with this newfound speed, he's going to be close enough to make a run into it. 3-2-8-5. Quinn Cannon, his lone turf try, a win. Very, very good. Just wasn't able to get back to the turf. He's fresh. He's back to it. Would not be a surprise to be in the mix.
And not at all. So there we have it. Keith Fusel, 3-2-8-5 there in the early pick 5. Let's go ahead and take a look at the beginning of that early pick 4. As per usual, Keith, you've got a ticket. Let's take a look and see how it looks.
Yeah, $18 ticket, 3 deep to get you started with the 1, 3, and 4 in race number 2. Race 3, 2, 3, 7, 8. I thought that was really, really close race. You could go a lot of different ways in race 3 for the fillies and mares going a mile on the turf. A couple scratches in there. We'll get to them. Race 4, I had to single somewhere. I go with Cajun Dream. This barn has done well in the drop with the owner. We'll talk about that later. Looks like, maybe the main speed. You've got a horse like Seeing Red is fresh. But I think Cajun Dream with a good break is going to be tough to catch in race number 4. Race 5 with the 5, 8, and 9 to wrap it up. Another filly and mare race on the turf at a mile and a 16th. Kind of inscrutable. There's a lot of horses, a lot of ways you can go right there. So we'll trim it down $18 for that early pick 4.
There we go. The beginning of racing for 2023 at Pimlico starts with that first early pick 4 from Keith. Let's see how the rest of them go, but let's look at this first leg in this maiden 12-5, going a mile and 16th on the dirt for the straight 3-year-old. Scratching the number 6, Deputy Donnie. You go with the number 3, Gaming Soul for Marco Salazar. Gets Angel Cruz today, making the drop down from that maiden 30.
A clean break, and I think this one is off to the races. Going back to last year, I looked at the trend of this racetrack. the first couple of days. And as we've gone back historically, everybody thinks Pimlico inside and speed. Well, it did hold true the first couple of days in the meet, and actually over on Preakness weekend was pretty strong. But Gaming saw a little bounce around in the first turn last time for maiden 30s. Occasional Moon came out of that race to run a big number of 76. Clean break and gets to the front. I think he can secure the inside and control the pace here.
Absolutely. You go. I just wanted to take a look at I Am the Mike for Carlos Mencia. Jamie Rodriguez on the inside. It wasn't quite on the inside. Similar inner post. I think this one is going to appreciate that inside post today. Jamie Rodriguez doing well for Carlos Mencia whenever he does hop on one for them. Just 2 for 4, 50% as of lately, but 3 for 4 in the money. So that's a trend I see continuing. But what I like is that Jamie is able to handle this horse, whether he wants to take it off of the pace. It's going to be interesting to see what they do going around the 2 turns. Last time around was going the 1 turn at Laurel Park. And again, this horse does enjoy, he's okay with a wet surface, but because it's 2 turns, I like that inside draw for this one.
Yeah, and anytime Jamie Rodriguez is on anything, right, you better pay special attention. We got a few riders here, if you know you're following along. Jamie Rodriguez, the way Concepcion, Barbosa, Toledo, these guys are tough. They're knocking on the door most every race, so hard to leave out Jamie Rodriguez. I agree. I think this horse second off the bench out of a double key race will make its presence felt. Cypress Station going to stretch out now. A little bit of a slow start, then had to steady against a better group. Willing Gallop out. Looking at the stallion, you don't know a whole lot about Bine, but I know his runners are 16% running long on the main track. I think this horse will stretch out okay.
Race number 3 is that second leg of the early pick 5 and also the beginning of the Rainbow pick 6 since we have 3 races. You're not going to like my price today, Keith. That's a $43.20 ticket. I like to go a little bit more conservative to just give you guys really a bit of a bare bones structure situation. But as you mentioned right away on the show today, competitive races today, regardless at what level they're at today. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead 3 deep with 2-3-5 in this first bit of the race. My single is Best Choice Baby for the Dil DeVigo team. It was a last-minute switch around for me with numbers with the scratch of Trophy Room, but in that claiming 12-5, going 6 furlongs on the dirt. Race number 5, as you mentioned, that starter optional for the girls going long on the turf, 5, 8, 9. Why not? I believe those are the same as yours on your ticket, if I remember correctly. But if I don't remember correctly, that's also fine. So race number 6, I also go 2, 8, 9 in that event going 3/4 of a mile on the turf for the girls. A couple big scratches there in that race. And of course, race number 7, I go 4 deep in that nice restricted allowance, going 5.5 on the turf. And then I go 2 deep with that nightcap that we have today. So again, a $43.20 ticket. I like to be more conservative. If you're going to be more conservative, maybe do it in race number 5, and we'll get to that in a second. But let's go ahead and get back into what starts this whole show. In this race number 3 for the start of the Rainbow Pick 6, the starter optional claiming 30,000, going mile on the turf for the girls, for the 3-year-olds and up. Scratch in number 4, Iona's Quest, the 10 White Lilacs, and the 11 Drywell. Keith, you have the number 8, Beckon, on top. Let's go ahead and take a look at Beckon for Mike Merriman and J. Ron Barbosa.
September 16th, 2022.
Throwback.
We're going to go back here. Beckon in the 16,000 condition. The key is that's a turf course that we're going to see right behind us that Beckon really likes. And Beckon has the tactical speed. The jockey-trainer combo has been good. Beckon be able to get the lead, go clear, and hold sway late at the mile distance. We're back in a mile again. I think the key is the return to Pimlico. Freshened up. I usually don't take a whole lot of consideration with the longer layouts with the turf horses. They kind of gallop themselves back into shape. I think this outside post on or near the lead for Beckon at a square price.
There we go. I see. That's where I take the approach. That's a point I did miss with this horse loving Pimlico. 50% on the turf here at Pimlico, and then 5 for 6 in the money. So I love that choice of Beckon on top. You also go with the number 7 in a spin for Mike Matz, Georgie Rui. Coming off from that Gulfstream Park campaign, returns back off of a little bit of a layoff where Michael Matz is doing okay as of late from that synthetic to turf. 3 for 5 in the money as of late, so one of those was a nice win.
It's a little bit of flow in this race. We'll see. Betcha by Golly, I think you go back to her turf races. She kind of wanted to be forward. She was into the part of the flow. Beck, I think, will be up close. Aaron's Enthusiasm, your top selection, very tactical. I think Rodriguez is just going to let him go, see what if he wants to attack early and try to control things, or sit just back off the lead.
Yes.
But no, I think in a spin, loves the distance, has faced a little bit better horses keying up against the likes of Nicolar. This horse should bring a punch here at the mile.
The only reason I took that, I had that horse in consideration on my ticket for sure.
Yeah.
The only thing that deterred me is I'm going, and there are some horses coming off of the layoff, but Matt's is 4 for 32 as of late first after the layoff. So I have the faith. I just want to see it. And it's fair if you go back. It was a bit of a marathon race back on that last turf effort at Gulfstream Park, but all the way back in January. So hopefully, as you mentioned, just like you mentioned with that last race, with these turf horses going the 2 turns, they can kind of gallop themselves into fitness. So we'll see how that goes in race number 3.
Okay.
Keith Fusel goes 8-7-2-3 there. Race number 4 is a claiming 12-5, going 6 furlongs on the dirt for the straight 3-year-olds. Keith, you have the number 6 on top, Cajun Dream. This is your single on your ticket for Ned Aller, gets JVN Toledo. Last time we saw this one was at Gulfstream in an allowance, comes back to clearly much friendlier field today.
Yeah, I got abused a little bit for the line, my man Robin, and he is right. This horse is going to be lower than 2-1, I believe, when it's all said and done. 8-5, 7-5 range, off of that kind of gaudy 64 back in December. So I think this horse coming back now. That was a good race. Just a bit too much the last couple races. Freshened up this barn with the owner. 3 for 4, 4 for 4 in the money the last few years. I know it's a smaller sample going allowance to the claiming level. He is the speed of the speed, I believe. He goes, if he breaks clean, I think he stretches out and goes wire to wire.
Numbers are numbers. It's a trend between the team, between that owner-trainer team, regardless of how long of a length it is. Success begets success. Let's talk about who you have underneath for fun. Number 2, Sir Smoke for Mario Saray Jr. gets Georgie Hernandez. Obviously going to be seeing better than what we saw last time out. I just want to see it.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a, heated battle up the front end. Seeing Red's kind of a real question mark horse for Pecoraro, and Damon's horse, Best Choice Baby, was in the flow. Got a little softer quarter to work with last time, but much improved. So if things do get kind of contested up front, Sir Smoke turning back. Now on a short rest, and we've seen this move by Saray in the past, but the last 2 sprints have been good. The jock's been able to take them on the rating, get to the inside, and make a run. I think Hernandez, I should say, should be able to make that kind of impact, save some ground around the turn, and rally into this flow.
Let's go ahead and take a look at who you have underneath in my top selection in Best Choice Baby for Damon Deal-DeVico, J. Ron Barbosa. We're taking a look right now at that win on the 16th of April.
Yeah, this horse was a popular claim. Claimed it a couple of times, so run twice now for Damon. Had to drop down, got the fast track to 12-5. I thought, definitely an improved effort. 56 Spire hasn't even come close to that in prior races. So maybe that's an indicator. This is a barn that had a little bit of a lull, but heated up the last 3 or 4 weeks. Was going great guns earlier. So major impact. Holds the level at 12-5. I like that. Alligator's Arms came back to run a decent number. Should be able to prompt it. Barbosa will be into the race lurking early and stays around.
And that's exactly what I go off of. Also having that outside post, I think, is going to be a bit beneficial if this one has first time against winners. While I do have this one on top, still going to need all the help he can get there with that outside post. And we'll be right back to talk about the other posts in the other races here for the rest of Thursday's card.
Pop, pop, it's showtime, showtime, showtime. Guess who's back again? Oh, don't believe me, just watch. Hey, 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 oh! Guess who makes me feel right? I've been locked out of hell. I'ma leave the door open. That's right. We out here tripping in finesse. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are.
Back, we're going to continue things on the turf here in this starter optional 20, going a mile and 16th for the girls, 3 years old and up, scratching the number 1, Miss Maribel, scratching the number 11 and 12, Drop Kick Queen, and Gold Rush Kizzy. You have the number 8 on top. I have the number 9. Let's go ahead and take a look at that video of the 2 on the go back, Keith.
Yeah, I'm going to go back a year ago, right? Almost. May 22nd of 22 at Belmont. And both of these horses showing, pretty positional speed, rating within range of the pace against, look at this company. That's a state bred, 2 other than. Pretty good group. Not the biggest of fields. classic colors, instinctive. Instinctive, called a little bit wide, but I think both of them run to the wire very well through the last 3/16 of a mile. Instinctive coming off a little bit of a layoff. Classic Colors was sold at a sale, now recently claimed, has a little bit more recency with some races on the dirt. I think both bring a finish here in race number 5. And looking at the field again, maybe Carroll Girls, the speed, there's not a whole lot. They should be able to kind of keep themselves fairly forward and work out a trip here at the mile and the 16. There's a little softer group, I think, overall than what that race was in New York.
Right. Overall it's slightly softer group, but then on top of that, I think the 1, 2, 3 finisher, that it's going to be a tight situation. So we also touch on Princess Javancia from McLean Hendricks. Kara Manos gets the call on this one. Win last time out before getting that winter break. I take a look at that first time off of the layoff. That's Parks at June. I'm curious of what that situation was, because I'm taking a look at it from the jock's perspective. Paco Lopez was on that one first off of the layoff. Paco Lopez is going to the front and let that horse rush itself if it wants to. Caramanos can have a little bit more of a nice hold on them and kind of get themselves collected within themselves. That's what I liked what I saw. So for me, the switch over from Roland to Caramanos, that's something that I really like, that caught my attention on that one.
He's obviously gotten along with her quite well, Callie. 2 for 2 is Caramanos. You talked about Abel. He does a good job in these races, just kind of get on the rate to settle a little bit and bring a finish. That's what she's going to need. That was an okay field, maybe a little bit of a step up here, but tactical speed. And that day was caught 10 posts, used wide through very quick internals. The race you're talking about off the left. So we'll give that one a pass, and I think this one will be improved. First time off the bench this season.
Race number 6 is a claiming 8,000 going 6 furlongs on the dirt for the girls, 3 years old and up. Scratching the number 5 Soupster and the number 6 Awesome View. And of course, it starts our jackpot super high 5. Excuse me. If we do have a carryover, let's see if we can take a look at that. But if we don't, remember, jackpot super high 5 and race 6 every single day. And let's go ahead and take a look at that horse who is probably going to be taking most of the money in Shackelford County for Bob Caceres. Gets Yomar Ortiz in the saddle today. Yomar has been putting in some wonderful performances on this one at the claiming 5 at the starter allowance level, and is first in the barn for Bob Caceres, where Bob Caceres is hitting at 19% as of lately, first off the claim.
Not that she didn't have any real issues with sloppy tracks in the past, just didn't fire at all last time out. Maybe that was, coming off the mile race, speed was a little bit dull. We're going to go into a new barn. Ortiz wanted to ride, and he wanted to stay with this one. And I think he gets just what the doctor ordered. You got a little positional speed outside, and he can just kind of measure everything to the inside. This horse is rateable, has a little bit of a burst when needed. I think she can separate herself by the time they hit the top of the stretch.
Absolutely. You also go with the number 4 underneath Dancer's Melody, Daniel McKenzie, Louis Rivera Jr., coming off of this is first in the barn, but coming off of a win from Tom McMahon. So the horse, if it's coming from the barn of Tom McMahon, the horse is in wonderful condition. So Daniel McKenzie, 1 for 3 as of lately, first, just really short stats. 1 for 3 first after the claim. 2 for 3 winning 2 in a row, even though he inherits that 2 in a row. So we have that as well. Rivera Jr., 2 for 4, 3 for 4 in the money with him. So again, you talk about this inside positional speed. I take a look to see if this horse, A, can either rate, or B, can handle any outside type of pressure. And this one is somewhat able to do both. A key race actually is going to be back for me at Laurel Park in that claiming 5 on the 31st of December. Had the 4 post was able to... did end up getting finagled by Carol Cedeno a bit outside. Got a comfortable trip. It's all about if Rivera Jr. can make this a comfortable trip for Dancer's Melody.
I think she will. They put the blinkers on 2 races back, 2 good races, and going into a barn we've talked about. They haven't run a lot of races, Daniel McKenzie, but he's been done quite well. Had a winner recently at Laurel, so I'm not worried about the barn change out of that 7/8, where she got away with a little softer flow up top last time. Dug in, turning back in distance. She's shown versatility. I think she can tuck inside, save ground, wait for a little seam to open around the turn, and go from there.
And there we go. We are going to take it to race number 7 in this restricted allowance, going 5 furlongs on the turf. Scratch in the 1, Kobe Tough, the 7, That Away, the 12, Kidman Carey, and the 13, Sakshmo. So let's go ahead and take a look at your top selection, Keith. On now inheriting the rail is Prince Pear for Suzanne Centenius. Gets Daniel Centeno in the saddle today. A nice effort on the outside going in as far as post position. But, of course, Prince Pear, solid horse on the turf here, especially at Pimlico.
Another one, like the Merriman horse Beckon earlier, likes Pimlico. 5 starts, a win, 2 seconds, 2/3. Last time a little flat. Had position around the turn off the duel, didn't kick on. But back to Pimlico, I go back to some of those races, even a state bred allowance race, had some trouble over this turf course, but likes this turf course. I think you're going to see an improved effort, a little bit better finish today than what you saw at Laurel last time.
I agree. It's a combination of needing a race and that outside post being carried a little bit wide, so it makes total sense. So let's talk about the number 11 who draws in.
Yeah.
Sue loves Barbados. Phil Capilano, J-Ron Barbosa. I love this horse. I think overall, he has stronger dirt numbers than he does have turf numbers, but when he does show up to the turf, he really does try for the most part. You talk about getting into that November, October, kind of getting into the swing of things, and I know before that he likes to flip-flop him in between the dirt and the turf, but I think with that outside post, that's going to be a big help for him getting into that right type of position with J-Ron Barbosa on again. Key race is going to be back on the 4th of November.
And we know J-Ron likes to kind of, lay a little bit closer, put some horses in positions to win. He's red hot right now. We had a 4-win day the other day over at Laurel Park, and there is a lot of speed in this race. So I think some speeds will run away. He won't be hampered by too wide of a trip, I don't think, once they leave the far turn. Turf numbers work. The company lines work when you go back to those turf races. He's going to like what he sees going on up in front of him because we saw, Boss Man JJ and Tenax go at it right from the get-go last time. Now you're going to add in Lad Needs a Handler. How about Noah Chance, Pick and Sea Glass, all horses with speed. Looks like it should set up from somebody from a few lengths off the pace. But I tell you what, Boss Man and JJ and Tenax, they were dead game the whole way through some good internals last time out.
Which is exactly who you have underneath in the 6 and the 8, Boss Man JJ being on the inside. So they switch around speed positions this time out. We'll see what happens there. But race number 8, our nightcap here of Thursday racing at Old Hilltop, is They Claiming 10,000 for the 3-year-olds and up, which have never won 3 going a mile, and 16th on the dirt. Scratch in the number 4, Demi Quando. You and I both have Majestic Frontier on top. Let's go ahead and take a look at Majestic Frontier for Jerry Robb and Xavier Perez back in April.
Attack mode right now from the 16 down to the 10. An improved number of 71 last time out from the buyer figure standpoint. And caught against the grain of the racetrack on April the 13th. April 13th speed was very good. Inside was good. This one was, you see the comment, 4 wide, then a bid 3 deep. Very willing, but Aristocratic just too good that day. Repelled the challenge, rode the better part of the racetrack, and widened. But was 4 clear of the next horse, and a horse that's carried some pretty good form despite odds recently. So Majestic Frontier, I think, will get position. Total Effort will go from the inside. I believe he will try to take the field wire to wire with Louis Rivera. It might, I think is going to go a long way in here. But Majestic Frontier here, if he just kind of holds close to form, I think he can make the first move, looking in the rearview mirror for maybe a closer like Bronco Maria.
Anytime I see Majestic Frontier pulling a rail post position, automatically this horse is going to be loving it and having a nice trip. So you talked about Total Effort a little bit for Horacio de Paz, Louis Rivera Jr. This one coming off of an okay campaign at the 16-10 level. Not too much of a difference, I think, within this field from the drop down from the 10 to the 8. To me, it's kind of no biggie, but it's also a no-brainer on exactly what's going to be happening. Key Race is going to be back at that win for the Claiming 16, going short. So we'll see if that maybe gets a little bit of help with that 2-post position and the weight still staying off.
Yeah, that's the key here. If you're late in the day and you're down a few dollars and you see this track might be trending towards speed and inside, that's the horse you got to kind of pair up with, and hopefully you can dance the dance and get out.
Let's dance on over to the lightning round and see, Keith, what you have for your best play and your value play, starting with your best bet of the day in race number 6 in the number 8, Shackelford County.
Shackelford County. I mean, trainer Bobby Caceres going great guns right now. I think he's 30% over the last month. Ortiz wanted him out, stays, got it. Give him a little story, I guess, maybe, agent. We'll see. I think could be the controlling speed or just has that style against this group. can able kind of move away and get a clear lead turning for him. Maybe Calypso Ghost goes inside and sends, but Chaco Crowley I think will pounce and then try to hold off the closers.
Your value play is in 5-1 morning line on the number 2 Prince Pair, who now inherits the rail in race number 7 for Suzanne Stutenius, gets Daniel
A
Centeno.
little bit of a horse for course angle here. Has to move up off the return try. Again, gets plenty of speed to target, but good races over this turf course, and I think we'll close into it.
Some fun races coming up next week, and noms have popped out, and just wanted to take a look. Here are all the horses in the Very One, but immediately when I talk about the Very One is a short turf race, so I immediately go to see, who does Wesley Ward have nominated into these races? And Her World and Spicy Marg are the 2 ones that are coming from the Wesley Ward barn. We also then transfer from going short to long on the turf in the Hilltop. And Chad Brown has 5 nominated: Asbury, Free Look, Lady Beth, Root Cause, Royalty Interest, and Up and Down, along with 2 Clement nominees in Breath Away and Queen Picasso. There we go. That's a 1 mile for the straight 3-year-old for the girls on the grass. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Gallerette, the other ladies grass race going along. And of course, Chad Brown has 3 prominent nominees in Eminent Victor, a multiple graded stakes place daughter of Mr. Z, Chili Flag, a French import who just finished second in a Gulfstream allowance in her U.S. debut, and Peter Brandt's Arena, but Arina, a Group 3 winner who finished 3rd in an allowance race at Aqueduct last time out, and of course Motion nominated 5 to the Gallerette. So we will have, throughout the weekend, I'm going to be bringing up some more nominations, and we'll touch on those, but I just wanted to cover girls on the turf for right now, and we will take it to Dave Rodman for some more changes and scratches.
All right, good luck.